Hello YouTube, this is Brian Tubbs coming at you with another video. Today I'm going to be working on a piece we've had this piece for years, but we have never been able to really come up with a name for it. So we just kind of call it Fishhead. And I'll just show you kind of a cardboard cutout of it. This is the piece we call Fishhead. It's a tabletop piece, so it stands, you can see the height of it, and it sits on a base, and it's for like sitting on a pedestal or a table in your house somewhere. But like I said, we made this piece for years. We can't come up with a name for it, so it looks like kind of like a fish head, but it stands on the point, on the base. We have three sides of it. I'll just show you a quick picture of the finished product if I can find it in my phone. Yeah. I'll just show you a quick picture of it, if you can see that. That's what the piece looks like when it's finished. So it's, of course, it's 3D, but we don't do, like you just saw in the picture, we don't do, four sides. We don't do this side, the back side, a side piece here, and then a side flat piece here. We just take the two front pieces and weld them together. So there's one seam, and then on the back we put, whatever width it's going to be. We'll put a stainless steel piece on the back. This piece is always made out of stainless steel. And then in the center, we have a stainless steel circle we put on the center, inside of the center, to finish off, to give it kind of the look you guys just saw. But today, I'm just going to show you guys just how we kind of do cut out our center and how we finish it. Now on the metal pieces, the center is already cut out, but I'll just kind of take you through how we do it, how we use a pipe to do it. I have a circle cutter, but I normally don't use a circle cutter on this piece. I'll just use a set of pipe on there and make the cut with the plasma cutter around that pipe just to get that inside, and then we have to grind it. And I'll just kind of show you just kind of how we grind it. It's going to be a real quick video. I don't go into detail of how we make the other portion of it. I mean, that's pretty, self-explanatory. But it's just that center, how we kind of get in there and grind that out. There's a lot of different options, but I have a way that I normally do it that makes it a little bit faster. Just so if you guys are ever, need to clean out a circle, you'll know kind of how to do it. But first off, I just want to show you guys the finished pieces that I was making. This is, I'm not sure what we're going to call it yet, but this is a flame. It has a different style base to it. I've not made a base like this before. So what it is, you have this piece was cut out of another piece. I think it was the piece trefoil. I'll put up a picture of trefoil so you can see, the base of the trefoil piece. And these were just the outer edges, because trefoil was tapered like this from the ground up, the base of it is. So when I go from the outer edges of that trefoil and come up to that tapered point, whatever it is in the center, I have this excess material that I cut off on each side. So that's what these are. These are just flipped upside down. Normally, if I had just cut off a trefoil, that the wide piece would be on the top and it would taper down to a point. So I just took that and just flipped it. So I have one piece, two pieces, and then in here I have another piece of 1/4 inch that's running up the center of this, and I just welded it to the inside or back side of each of these triangles, if you will. And that's what the piece looks like going around, all the way around. It has 4 sides to it. It's pretty heavy because this is a 3/16, and then the back plate in there is a 1/4 inch thick because I didn't want it to, you know, flex or whatever when we were welding it up. And then this is, of course, all stainless steel up here. I have this piece on here just to make it look like it's a flame coming out of this chamber, like a gas chamber, if you will, or the gas or whatever stored or whatever, and it's a flame. I didn't want to just have this flame sitting on top of this with a flat plate and you just have this flame welded to that plate. So I just built these upper walls, if you will, to make it look more like the flame is coming out of the base through here. Just something I added. There's a hole in here for drainage, so when it rains, this won't be filled with water. I mean, I thought about using it as like a bird bath, so they can hang out, like stand on the edge here and get water out of it. But I figured, it just wasn't quite enough room in there, and I didn't want the piece just setting in water. So I drilled a hole on the inside of here, so when it rains and gets water, it won't fill because the water will drain out of that hole. And so this piece is, it's about 6'5" or 6'6" inches tall, something like that. So again, I think we're going to call it flame. We already have eternal flame. We have other, you know, pieces that we call flame. So I'm not exactly sure what we're going to call this. Maybe burning torch or something. I don't know, but we'll come up with a name for it. And then this piece, this is the piece that I showed you in the video. I showed you the cardboard drawing that was standing up here. This is a piece we call pi. Pi, they say it's the difference between a radius of a circumference, the radius of a circle and the circumference of the circle. So that's why I just put this is not quite a donut, but this disc up here on top. I mean, it represents basically a circle. So I didn't want to just have the pi symbol. I want to add something a little different to make it you know, our own. I put it on a base. Now the base from this position just looks square, like this is a square box. But actually, when you look at it from the side, it tapers out this way. So the front, that side and this side, they straight up and down, but the front and back are kind of tapered out this way, just to give it just a little something. The top plate was not quite wide enough for me to just make this a box. I wanted that bottom portion down here, you know, on this down here, I wanted that to flare out more to give me a wider base. So that's why I tapered it from the top going out this way. Front to back was long enough, but just, or side to side, however you want to look at it. And then this way it just wasn't wide enough, so I tapered it out to give it more of a footprint to make it more stable. And so this is all core 10. This is stainless. The bottom plate is a mild steel, just a thick mild steel. Stainless steel, and like I said, the rest of it's core 10. The only thing we've done with them is passivate the stainless, and then we've put our chemical on the bottom. It's really not a chemical. Hydrogen peroxide, table salt, and white vinegar. We mix it up, spray it on to bring the copper out faster. In this case, it brings the rust, gives it a rust patina, and just give it something a little bit different. So I just wanted to show you guys the finished product. I made a video not long ago about when I was doing the cardboard and I was cutting the pieces out. I just want you to see the final product. My wife put the designs in this piece, and she also did the designs in this piece, you know, with the grinder. I'm more of a straight line guy, but it's difficult for her to make straight lines, so she just kind of do just different types of figures, figure eights and whatnot when she does it. So guys, I just wanted to just kind of show you what I was doing, or what I had finished. And so now we're going to just the rest of the video just be kind of just a quick how we clean out the circles on these pieces. All right, let me go and get this thing set up. All right, guys, I'm back, and if you didn't join the video at the beginning, I'm going to be just showing you guys how we kind of grind out the center of the circle after we take the plasma cutter and cut it. This is a tabletop piece we call Fishhead, stainless steel piece, and this right here is just the template that we use. Like I said, we've been making this piece for a number of years now, but we can't come up with a name for it, so we just call it Fishhead. And when customers buy it, we just let them name it for themselves. So again, I'm not gonna be grinding the outer perimeter of it. I'm just gonna kind of give you guys a quick tutorial of how we grind that center. Because after you plasma cut it, whether you use a circle cutter, or like in this case, I used just a pipe, just laid it on there and just take my plasma cutter and trace around the pipe. Get a lot of slag in there, a bunch of stuff hanging down. The lines are sometimes fairly straight, sometimes a little bit have jagged edges and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna show you guys just kind of how we do it. I'm gonna show you there's two ways that it can be done. Let me grab this pipe real quick. All right, guys, so there are a couple ways you can cut out a circle. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can cut out a circle. But the way that we normally do it is I will either use what's called a circle cutter. This is what it looks like. So what you do is you would put this point into your hole on your, say you have a flat sheet of metal, aluminum, stainless steel, carbon steel, whatever it is. You would just put a little hole in the take a little drill bit, just put a start of a hole. You don't have to put a hole all the way through it. Just put a starting little hole, and then you take the point of that, put this in that hole on the flat metal. You would adjust this to, let me grab something here. And you would adjust this to whatever length you wanted that circle, the circumference of that circle to be. I have this hexagon tube. I have a shorter one, then I have a long one. It's probably, I don't know, 3 feet long, something like that. So I can make a 6 foot circle cut out, or if I want to go longer than that, I'll just buy more of this hex solid rod and take it out as far as I need to go. And so the way it works is I would have this, whatever dimensions I needed the circle to be, I would put this, I'll get that dimension from the tip of this to the center of this. I will put this in the little indent that I put, a little start of a hole, put that in there. Take my plasma cutter, put that in this front portion here. And what I would do is I would have it on the flat metal, and I would just start going in a circle all the way around until I cut the circle out. And that's what a hole cutter is. This one is by Miller. It was pretty expensive. It comes with this whole head setup. This rotates. So when you put your plasma cutter in, it rotates. It doesn't bind anywhere. It doesn't stop you from making a smooth cut. And then this little wheel here rides on the metal, so your TIG torch's tip, I mean not your TIG torch, your plasma cutter tip is not getting too close to the metal, where it could shoot metal back up into the tip and destroy the tip. So that's there, and it rides up about 1/8 of an inch off of the metal with this little wheel on it. There are different things that came with it. Like I have another thing where I can put the torch in, and it has this type of wheel on both sides, so I can just run it straight down using a straight edge, and it'll just make a really straight cut, just by using this thing. It won't have all the rod and everything, and it'll just be that piece that will fit on your torch in order to just run and make straight cuts. And while I'm thinking about it, I haven't used that thing yet, and I think I'm going to try using it. But that's what a circle cutter is, guys. So you can either use that to make your cut. So like, for example, if I was going to use that on here, I would just find the center of this circle, mark it, take my drill and just put a little starter hole in there. Put the point of this into that little hole, get the center of this lined up with where I want to be. I have this marked out with a marker or whatever. Clamp this down, set it on the metal, get my torch, and just start making a circle. Just going around with the plasma cutter, just cutting it out like that. And that's how this circle cutter works. It works nicely, but sometimes if you're not careful, not focused, when you go around and when you get back to a point where you started, sometimes this side can be cut out a little bit further than this side. That happens sometime if you're not really focused on what you're doing, because sometime when you have that this little point in there, sometimes it can slip out, or sometimes you can like, for example, let me just show you here. When you put your TIG torch in there, sometimes your torch's angle can change. So when you're going around a circle, when you first start out, you're pointing straight down with your torch as you're going around a circle. At some point, your torch can tip a certain direction, left, right, front, back, and that will change the position of your torch, and it will change the outer circumference, or the cut that you're making. It can go from being straight down to coming out on an angle, and that's going to open up your circle more than you want. So when you get back around to the starting point, if your torch is tilted out, when you get back, you're going to have one portion of your circle here, and when it comes back, the other portion of the circle could be like here. So now you got that big gap in there. Or you can tilt your torch in, and this is the original starting point. You could be in here somewhere. So now you got that. Now you have to either cut that excess away to match up, or you got to grind it away. But if it's out here, this is your starting point. This is your finished cut here. Now you're going to have to add metal here, or you're going to have to make the rest of your circle bigger to match that. But what I normally do is I would add some metal and here to fill that gap, just to get the the circle back right. So that's the kind of a thing that can happen when you use a circle cutter if you're not careful and keep your torch straight down in that in this hole. So what I do is I'll take some electrical tape and put around this cup just to make it fit more snug, but I still have to focus on not allowing this thing to tip front, back, left, right. So that's one way, like I said, that's one way to make the circle. Some people just are good enough to just freehand the circle with the plasma cutter. They'll just freehand it. I'm not that good. I can get it close, but I would rather use something to just kind of help me out. Okay, now the other way that I do that is most of the time more consistent than using a circle cutter is to just use a pipe or tube, whatever you have, something round. Doesn't have to be a tube or pipe. It can be just something round. It can be pieces you buy, just depending on the diameter of your circle. You can buy whatever you do consistently. If you make certain pieces consistently, you can just buy a 1/4 inch disc that's already cut out, a gusset they call it at the metal stores. Just take that gusset, lay it on your piece as your template, and then just take your plasma cutter and just trace right around that gusset, and you'll get a neat cut for the most part. You might have a few high and low spots here and there, but for the most part it's good. But what I do is I'll, if I don't have a gusset laying around, I'll just grab a pipe that's the size that I need, and I'll find where I want to put, the hole, lay the pipe on there, take my marker and just trace around it, take the pipe out, look at everything, make sure each side is, fairly close and even to where I want it to be. Then I'll put my pipe back on there, fire the plasma cutter up, and start cutting. Just tracing right around that pipe, all the way around. Come on this side, get back into my hole, and just trace it all the way around. And before you know it, you have cut out a nice hole. The thing is, when you use a pipe or a gusset, your torch is on a slight angle because you have to get in there next to that pipe or gusset. So your hole is going to kind of have an angle to it, your cutout hole. So you have to get your grinder in there to smooth it back out to make it flat, if that's important. If not, that's up to you. You don't have to. But what I normally do when I'm making a piece like this, I have two pieces clamped together. So I'll cut out the first piece. I think I may have shown this in a different video. I'll cut out the first piece, grind it, and make it, pretty much exactly how I want it to look. Then I'll take that piece, lay it on top of a flat sheet of metal, stainless steel or whatever I'm using, clamp it to it, take the plasma cutter, and trace around that piece, the first piece that I made, all the way around. And then that will give the second piece to be really close to the first piece. And then all I do is just do a little grinding following the first piece, grinding the second piece to match the first piece. And that makes it a lot easier when you're doing this. What I used to do was cut out the first piece and then take a marker and trace the second piece on the flat sheet of metal, move the first piece aside, and then follow that traced line. But when you do that, oftentimes you cut too much away, or you'll leave too much on. You'll be outside of that blue line, and now you have a ton of grinding to do. So what I do instead is now I just trace the first piece onto the second piece, and it's a lot closer, and it's just a little bit of cleanup then. But when you stack those pieces like that, so each of these pieces is 11 gauge. So that's about 1/8 of an inch. So when I stack the two pieces together, I have about 1/4 inch. So when I do the pipe technique, my torch is on an angle. So the first piece comes out about where I want it, but the second piece is, the torch is tilted so much that that second piece has more of a wall thickness on the inside thickness because of the torch's angle. So when I have to grind the pieces, I have to focus more on that inside piece to match it up with this top piece because it's on such a angle. There's more material left on that inside, on the bottom circle. That's what I'm trying to say, more material. So I'm just gonna kind of just show you guys, after we make the cut, either circle cut or a pipe or a gusset, how we clean up the rest of it. I'll show you guys that now. All right guys, so there are a few ways you can do it. You can buy a drum disc. This is a 60 grit sanding drum disc, if you will. You can take this, put it inside of your circle on your drill, or your if you have a compressor and a die grinder, you can do that with that. These are nice, but they take forever. So what I use these primarily for is when I have a small hole, like this is a 3-inch diameter. So if I have a 3-inch diameter hole, like on the sculpture, the new sculpture that I showed you, I don't remember the name of the thing. We haven't put a name on it yet. But like the sculpture like Guardian, where you see those little holes like in the sword, those little things. If I have little small holes, I'll put this in that hole and put it on my either my grinder or my die grinder, and just spin it, just clean the hole out. And whenever you weld like circles, you're gonna have some metal, some weld bead that slightly gets in there. And this is good for taking that little weld bead off. And that's after you have, welded your inner piece and that kind of thing. I'll use these for that. I could use this for this, but it would take forever. So what I do instead is I'll just take a grinder, and this has this one has a flat grinding pad on it. This is I think it's 36 grit, and I'll just take it and just go on the inside. Let me get it. So I'll take this and just go right on the inside. Just slowly going around it. Just trying to knock down any like high spots I see. If I see low spots, I'll try and blend the metal in around it with that, that low spot. When I say low spot, I mean it's cut in more than the rest of the circle. If it's cut in a little bit more, I'll try and blend the metal here and here with that low spot, just to blend it in. But if it's cut in too deep, I'll just add some weld to that spot and then blend the weld in with the rest of the with the metal. So I'll just fire this this grinder up just to kind of let you guys see how I do it. And again, it's pretty simple. And And if you notice, my grinder is not flat. I'm just using like the edge, like one of the edges of the grinder. I'm not using it, it's not laying flat like this. I'm just trying to use like more of the edge just to go around there. Because if I lay it flat, I will probably rip this pad, you know, in two, have stuff flying everywhere. Or when I'm focusing on this area, if it's laying flat, I'll be grinding into this area. I'm trying to grind this area, but I'll be digging into this area. So that's why I just kind of keep it on an angle, slight angle when I do it. I'm going to be wearing out the majority of the pad here, and I know that going in. And I can take the rest of this and use this like on the outer edges, as opposed to just throwing the pad away after I wear all this out. I'll save it and use the rest of the grit when I'm doing like the outer edges, where I can get to it and use that portion. But again, on the inside, I'm just using like the edges. And another thing you want to do is when you're doing this, you want to get to the point where when you're grinding like this, you can feel where there are high and low spots. Just with your grinder, you can feel it with your hands. You want to get to that point where you can feel that. Where if something is either high in here or low or flat, you try and do a circle, you'll be able to feel it. So it'll take, you know, some time to kind of learn that, but before you know it, you'll be able to feel when you have high and low spots. You don't have to stop and be looking all the time, but you'll just know it. And if you guys, I lost focus for just a second. And if you guys, I'll let you guys see what happens. I mean, it's not overly dangerous if you have face protection on. But I just want to let you guys see what happened. All right, guys, I'm just going to kind of show you what happened. I was grinding here and didn't pay attention to that other edge down here, and the paper, the grinding pad caught it. And again, I wear a face shield all the time. Whenever I turn a grinder on for grinding, for cutting, for plasma cutting, I always wear a face shield. I never go without a face shield because I know what can happen. It's happened too many times to me. So this is what happened to this flat disc. Just tore everything, just ripped it to shreds. You know, shrapnel went everywhere, but I had my face shield on so it didn't like get in my eyes or whatever. But this is the stuff that can happen if you're not careful when you're grinding in here. So what I'll do next is grab my flap, FLAP disc, and just finish smoothing this out. This is a flat FLAT 36 grit. So I'll grab my other disc now and show you how, after I use this to get the basic shape, I'll use the other disc to come behind it and kind of smooth it out a little bit more. So I go from the flat to the flap. It has just a bunch of individual pieces of sandpaper on here. And that's why they call it a flap disc. And this little bit, that other one was 36, this is 40, but this is a little bit more forgiving than that one. So I'll take this and go on the inside now and use it, but I still have to be careful of, if I'm welding, I'm working on this side over here, I can't allow this side to touch the inside of that the circle. So I use this to give it that little final shape. And before I came on camera, I had kind of gone through here and cleaned up some of this, because that takes a while to get all the slag and whatnot off. So I did a little bit of cleanup before I came on camera, but you get the idea. All right, guys, and that's how you do it. You get your shape, and then what you do after you do that, after you get your inside fairly looking good, doesn't have to be perfect, because you're going to be welding the inside sheet of metal in here, so you can shape the rest of this with the with your weld and that kind of thing. But after I do this, I take the grinder and I go around this perimeter here just to knock off all the sharp edges. So I'll show you how to do that. And I'll take it, flip it over, and just do the other side, same thing. And that's how that's done, guys. I mean, like I say, the circle doesn't have to be perfect. But now if this is going to be a 2D piece, where I wouldn't have, a front, back, side, whatever, it would just be like one piece, then I have to make the circle perfect. I couldn't have like these little dips and stuff in it, because it would be a standalone piece. But once I put my ring in here, I'll just weld these walls to that ring, so I'll be filling a lot of these like little gaps and stuff with the weld. And while I'm thinking about it, when I was going to make this piece, I'll show you guys an example of what I'm talking about here. When I was going to make this piece, I didn't have enough stainless steel to make this complete shape. I was trying to make this shape with this, with the metal that I had left just laying around. I don't want to buy new metal to make this piece. So when I laid this on my flat sheet of metal, this section here was not attached to this metal. it was an open piece. I just had enough metal for this portion here, but not for this. And on this other side, the same thing. I had enough metal to make all this, but this section of that flat piece of metal that I had was not there. So what I did was I cut just a piece that was laying around, cut it on a 90 degree, and just stuck it right in this section that was missing. And then I just TIG welded that in. So now I just have to grind this down to make this one piece. And on this side, all of this was not there. Like I said, it was just this piece was attached, but all of this was missing. So I had to cut this piece from another piece that was laying around and had like this this arc area to it. I just took it, fit it in there as best I could, and then just welded it in to make this a solid piece. So now all I have to do is just take my grinder and just smooth this weld down to make this one piece. And this piece, we normally paint it like you saw in the picture. I spray paint it and do whatever I do. Then my wife come behind me and do the sponge painting and all that stuff, and then we clear coat it. So these lines don't have to be perfect, but after I grind them, they will look like just one piece. So that's another thing. If you guys don't, if you're making a piece and you don't have enough metal to, make the piece, you can find some scrap metal that you have laying around and just I call it splicing it in. And I did a video on how to, add metal, and I'll put a thumbnail up of that just so you can go back and check that video out. But that technique that I taught in that video, I used on here to be able to make this piece. Because had I not known how to do that technique, I would have had to go out and buy another sheet of 11 gauge or 10 gauge stainless steel just to make this piece. And again, the stainless steel is not cheap. It's pretty expensive metal. So it's better if you know how to splice and add metal to to pieces you want to make, so you don't have to be running out all the time, to your weld or your metal supply store buying more metal. Because I have a whole bin of metal over here that I can just grab scrap pieces out and just add to to make stuff like this. All right, guys. So like I said, it's going to be a pretty quick video, and once you like I say, you learn how to do this, your circle doesn't have to be perfect if you're going to put an insert in there, because your insert will be more rounded, and you just kind of follow that with your weld. I'll be TIG welding this up because I don't want to get weld spatter on the stainless steel on the inside, and so I'll just be kind of just TIG welding it up. But all right, guys, that's going to do it for this video, and I hope to see you on the next video. I'm not sure what I'll be doing. I might do a video of me welding this up. Just depends. But thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you on the next one as I continue on this journey of creating just crazy art. All right, guys. As usual, peace out.